Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the REC podcast, brought to you by the REC Toycast. I am your host, Roman Chavez, and with me, as always,
Eric Icarus.
And Eric,
uh-huh.
It is All Hallows Eve, the
man.
31st of October. I'm really pushing the date this time, and we have a special guest.
Who?
Dave Williams.
Oh my God! Hey guys, my favorite.
Yep. Continuing our horror month theme, Dave has kind of been the horror extraordinaire maestro, as it were, and I feel like I'm learning more and more about you each week. So thank you so much for coming and join us on another cast. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you, I had a little oral surgery this week, so if I sound a little different, my speech is slurred. That is life, all right? We're going to figure that out. Today, we would like to talk about a couple different things. And for the holiday season of Halloween, I'd kind of like to start us off on, Eric, what is do you have a fun, interesting Halloween experience that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean,
that our audience would enjoy.
Sure. Yeah, I do have a few, but I'll just go with the broad one real quick. We'll shoot back 15, 10, 12 years. I used to, you know this.
Yeah.
I used to do costumes that were rather offensive. You remember those? Quite offensive. You remember those? Okay. I would pick probably the worst thing that ever happened in the year, and then dress up like it. And I remember the crocodile hunter dying.
Yeah.
You remember that costume with the okay?
Yeah.
I don't look anything like him, but people got the gist.
Yeah.
And I was on your way to your Halloween party. Had to stop off at a party store and pick up some alcohol or whatever, and walk in there, and I was pretty much told to leave.
Wow.
Like, they were like, what is this? I'm like, oh, it's the Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. You know he died, right? I said that to them. They're like, yeah, I know. That is tasteless. He died like 2 months ago. I'm like, yeah, that's what makes it funny. I mean, they didn't get the humor, and I could not buy my alcohol there, so I had to take the Stingray thing off and then go into a different store.
Did you go to an Australian liquor store?
No, it was a black dude.
Man,
yeah,
hey.
He loved it. He loved the crocodile.
A lot of love for the crocodile.
Yeah, him and then the rest of his customers were pretty irate about that.
Wow, and that actually became quite a popular costume. I remember seeing that on an episode of South Park.
Yeah, exactly. And I was getting more heat for that than my John Benet Ramsey costume.
Oh yeah,
no one was giving me.
Eric is a terrible, terrible man, and you guys are learning that. He likes to dress to impress. I guess we can say that much. Dave, do you have a fun a Halloween story that you could share?
I certainly cannot follow that.
Oh yeah, I know. I shouldn't have started there. I really shouldn't have.
But no, yeah, I mean, you know this, Roman. When I dress up for Halloween, it's usually something that's really intricate. It's to the level of cosplaying.
Yeah. Expert. Dave puts in the time, or he puts in the money, and sometimes he does both, kids.
Right.
Wow.
And Roman, he really likes my proton pack, the one I actually built. I actually don't like that as much as he does.
Yeah.
The one I like is the one I purchased.
And you had it made by a guy who does props, right?
Right. I had it made by a guy who lived here. He's now in California. And he makes these movie grade props, and one of his best-selling props he makes is the proton pack, and it's legitimate. It's aluminum, it's heavy, but it always turns heads, and everyone loves it, and that's sort of what I enjoy, is putting on those kind of movie grade costumes and getting compliments.
Cool, man.
Yeah, to piggyback on Dave's there, we used to work together years ago, and he was building his own proton pack, and I think this thing is awesome. But you remember in Ghostbusters 2 when they're putting him back on for the first time, and it looks like Bill Murray's about to pass out because it's so heavy. Dave's was pretty heavy for what it was. It was like a pie plate.
Yeah.
It looked great. It looked great.
What?
But he's building it, and he's building it at our old job.
Oh, nice.
And he's working in this hidden room. Our boss who never goes in this room, walks in. Dave is building it. He's watching the World Series on TV, and he's just like, "Hey, how's it going?" And he's like, "Oh, good." And he just proceeds to then explain what he's doing, and our boss at the time just kind of took it and didn't really say anything negative about it, and it was pretty epic.
Well, I'm not sure what else I could have done.
You could have done
right? I mean, and by the way, to be fair, I wasn't the only one watching the World Series. It was a slow night, and so everyone was kind of watching the World Series off and on. And I just happened to be unfortunate because everyone left, and I just stayed there working on my my proton pack. And that's when our boss came in and caught me. And then,
do you still have the one you made?
Yeah, I still got it.
Man, because you put a lot of effort in that. You got to keep that. For me, I think I'm gonna go way back, and I'm gonna go back to high school.
Okay.
Maybe even junior high or freshman year, but it was me, you, and a guy we used to know, Trevor.
Oh my God, you're not bringing this up.
And
no.
We were on that cusp, you know. It was either junior high or like freshman year, and it was
definitely too old to be going.
Like, do we go trick or treating? So like, none of the three of us wanted to admit that the other wanted to go, and like the last minute, we decided to go as the Beastie Boys. And we just got a bunch, and it actually didn't look too bad.
It didn't look too terrible.
Like my dad worked for the post office at the time, so we just put on like postal uniforms, which is nothing like the Beastie Boys, but it looked
like the Intergalactic video.
It looked a little intergalactic-y, and so we went trick or treating, and the amount of looks we got from people who were like, "Bro, you got a mustache, like you got to stop." Like it was like they were giving us candy, but they were quite reluctant to do so.
The worst was when you told me to act like I'm mentally disabled. Like, this is my kid, like my brother.
I don't remember that part. It didn't sound like me.
Maybe that was me. I don't know.
All right, kids. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I thought that would be kind of a fun thing. And again, we don't really discuss too much what we're going to do before the show, except the topic. And I asked them to kind of think about something they wanted to talk about. But the meat and the bones and all of the trimmings of today's show is kind of our favorite horror film deaths.
Yeah.
You know, people being eviscerated, people being disintegrated, people being ripped apart. Like, what are some of your favorites? And I'm going to start. I don't ever really start. So, one of my favorite ones is, and if you've been paying attention this month, is from a movie, Event Horizon. And in Event Horizon, Jason Isaacs plays kind of this medical staff guy on the ship, and he's the captain tells him, "Hey, this guy's gone nuts. If you see him, take him out." And he picks up a scalpel, and he's like, "All right, I'm going to do it." And immediately turns around, and kids, we're going to talk spoilers, so if you haven't watched these movies, definitely go check them out. But he picks up his scalpel, and it looks like Isaacs is going to go for it. I'm like excited, and right when he turns, he straight up gets got by the bad guy. just gets taken out. And then when we see him next, when we see Jason Isaacs, he's literally like flayed open. It's almost like his rib cage has been opened, and he's just like hanging, arms up, mildly crucified, hanging with his ribs open. And
pretty brutal.
And it's brutal. And again, kids, that movie scared the crap out of me, and that image is burned in my head.
You know what's so cool is, again, back to practical effects.
Yeah.
It looked so good. It still looks good.
Yeah.
And
I'll be curious to see if any of us don't have one that's a good practical effect. I'm curious.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm going to be curious about that.
Right.
Why don't you take off on the next one?
Well, I'm about to spoil what you just said.
Should we not come to you then?
Yeah, let's go to Dave.
All right, go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
Well, I actually have quite a few, but I guess I'll get the saddest one out of the way. It's still, well, I like it because it's kind of it makes sense for the movie, but The Fly with Jeff Goldblum.
Oh man.
So for those of you who don't know the story, basically Jeff Goldblum creates this teleportation technology, and he tests it on himself, and it successfully works. But unbeknownst to him, a fly actually entered into the pod, and it fused with Jeff Goldblum, and he started noticing changes throughout himself and his body. He got stronger, he got more invigorated, had more energy, but then it started to kind of take a turn for the worse. He actually started turning into a fly man. And it gets really gross towards the end.
I mean, that's Cronenberg for you.
Right.
The donut scene, that scene still grosses me
right.
out.
It's too much. Well, during the film, he has sex with Gina Davis, and she gets pregnant.
On purpose?
Oh,
oh no!
It's casual rape joke. Anyway, so he has sex with her. She's pregnant, and he finds out, kidnaps her, and towards the end of the film, he's looking really gross.
Yeah.
His plan is to merge with Gina Davis, the unborn child, and himself through the teleportation technology. A mutual friend comes to save the day, so to speak, and the plans don't work out. I don't want to spoil it too much. Obviously, he dies, but at the end of it, she's the one that actually ends up killing him. And by that time, he's gone through the full transformation as a fly. And he knows he's a monster, and so he slowly crawls towards Gina Davis. Gina has a shotgun in her hand, and he grabs the barrel of the shotgun and moves it towards his head, as in, please go ahead and just take me out of my misery. And it's a very memorable scene to me, and I actually enjoyed it, and I thought it was a very fitting way for him to die, and it was just a good bookend, I guess.
It's for that scene, what I always thought was so amazing about it was how in his most de-evolved moment, he had the most human feeling, like, well, yeah, I don't belong here, you need to get rid of me. And then when he was still kind of Jeff Goldblum looking, he was really animalistic and just kind of giving it into his
sexually aggressive.
Oh, he was big time, actually. Remember that arm wrestling scene?
Yeah, I do.
Just want to talk about the arm wrestling scene. I literally haven't watched The Fly since I was way too young to have watched The Fly.
Oh, it's so great.
And I remember so much of this movie, and I've only seen it the one time. There's no way. There's no way I watched it twice.
Talk about practical. That's probably the best practical effects movie right
there.
there.
Good pull.
And,
good pull.
And it's sort of unusual for Jeff Goldblum too. You see him do these different characters, but for him to do this, I thought was.
Did you saw the Jerry curl?
Big time. It was almost a mullet at that point
full
too.
Goldblum, huh?
Still looking good, man.
Yeah.
He's all toned up.
I mean, the guy's beautiful.
Yeah.
He is. He's a unicorn. We'll never get him again.
I know, God. He needs to do more stuff, but he's really into jazz. He does a lot.
He's amazing. He's an amazing musician.
He's so into jazz music, and he has a band. He does all this stuff.
He'll actually legit go into just clubs. Yeah. And he'll sit in with people, and the people are like, "What? Jeff Goldblum?"
Yeah, man. I would kill to like.
I'd jam with him. That'd be awesome.
You ready to jam, Jeff? All right, Eric. Why don't you give us another one?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go with Ghost Ship. The intro to Ghost Ship. This movie as a whole is not very good. I don't care for it that much. It's got some highs, a lot of lows though. But that opening scene, we watched it in theater and did not see this intro coming, this scene coming. Starts off on this, what would you call it, like a cruise boat, basically, yeah. And there's a bunch of rich people dancing on the dock, I guess, and people are enjoying themselves. This little girl comes out. She has no one to dance with. The captain steps in, starts dancing with the child. It's very wholesome. People enjoying the evening. All of a sudden, you see someone messing with a cable, like a big steel cable up in the crow's nest, I guess. I don't know what you call it. And snaps the cable. And before you know it, you just see the cable come down, and you hear the sound.
Yeah.
And misses the girl somehow. I still got to figure that out. Still got to figure the physics of that out. But basically, she turns around, sees what happened, and there's people decapitated.
Yeah.
Just falling apart right in front of her, and some of them are still alive, trying to grab their legs. And she looks up to see the captain, and it turns out the cable cut him right where his mouth was.
Yeah.
His head just lobs off. It's not practical, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
But it actually holds up not bad for 2002 horror movie, and it's so memorable because did not expect it to open like that. It hits you real hard. You're like, oh, okay, this is gonna be this kind of movie.
Yeah, it was quite the tease because the rest of the movie is pretty much garbage except for the we won't spoil everything about the film, but the ending is interesting. It made me want to know more of the story, not to watch another film, but to know more of the story.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Very much like, if this was like based on something, if it was on the Blu-ray extras, I would have liked that. You know what I mean? Very much like 13 Ghosts.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, it was love that scene. Good opening scene.
That is a solid one. I that was just like, oh wow, like that was a crazy scene.
Yeah.
But speaking of 13 Ghosts, for me, I think what I think we're gonna hit just on these first few, especially, is the fact that it's this visual gag, this visual obscurity, something that your mind most people's minds would normally go to. So in 13 Ghosts, there's this kind of semi-sleazy lawyer, and they're trapped in this house. As the longer they're in the house actually kind of like changes shape. Like it's walling you off. It's like making you go to different places.
Right.
And they don't really, at this point in the story, they don't really know like what's going on. And this lawyer, he's like looking for money in the house because his client had passed away, and he's like looking for the secret stash kind of thing. And as he's going, like I said, the walls are moving, the doors are changing. He like gets cut in half the long way, but the wrong way. All right? So he gets literally like split in half to where, like, you know, in the front side of his body, pecs, you know, thigh, goes one way, actually slides one way, and then like the back of the head, the shoulders and everything, he literally gets cut in half that way. And it's such a crazy scene. You know, you kind of see he gets the doors, basically the two doors close with him in the middle.
Right.
And then you just kind of see his body like slide apart, and you see his eyes just kind of moving at the last ticks of life. And even when they circle back to it, when like somebody discovers his body, you know, the backside of him is kind of propped up a little bit more, so you can see a little bit of his brain, and then the bottom side, it's very much like a cake melted. You know, like the frosting melted off the side of a cake. And I had never seen somebody get cut in half that way, and I was like, oh my god. And where Ghost Ship kind of failed to deliver, the rest of the movie
that's great.
is full of great deaths and crazy, you know, just people getting killed.
Oh, man, there's a lot of good
ways.
deaths in that movie.
Very much so. Matthew Lillard.
Oh, yeah, when he just,
Yeah, it's such a strong visual, and I guess that's not a practical. Well, I mean, I think the end result was a practical.
Yeah, I would
effect.
say that was.
But they didn't really
great.
cut a guy in half. At least I hope not. Or maybe I hope they did. I'm not sure. It wasn't Matthew Lillard, so I don't care.
Oh man!
But I thought that was
that
one
guy.
stuck with me when people ask me about that movie. That's something that I talk about for sure.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. And again, holds up.
Yes.
Being an early 2000s horror movie, I'm shocked how that one and Ghost Ship hold up.
I rewatched 13 Ghosts a couple weeks ago, and it's still
That's
holds up.
awesome, man. Yeah. Oh man.
You got another one for us, Dave?
Sure, I'll go to a classic, Johnny Depp's death in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh.
I think it's probably the most recognizable death out of that movie.
I don't remember it at all. Please tell me.
Well, he's so I mean he's so he's hanging. He's asleep, obviously, but he's during the scene he's on his bed, kind of just chilling. I think he had headphones on or something like that, and all of a sudden you see Freddy's hand with the claw glove take him and pull him down into the bed. And then a few moments later you see this huge geyser of blood, and you know, imagine Old Faithful from Yellowstone. but it's just blood gushing all throughout this hole where Freddy like pulled him down right into the bed, so you don't see him, and then you see all this blood just gush out, and it encapsulates the whole like ceiling and room, and that's all she
he's
wrote,
shuffled
man.
from this mortal coil.
Really?
It looks amazing. It still looks good.
Just looking at you guys, like your expressions, I'm like, visual, like you guys explaining it to me doesn't. I'm like, that's how you kill Johnny Depp, and I guess that's
you need to rewatch it.
I want to. After our favorite horror movies, and you guys teaching me about horror, a few episodes back, guys, check that out. Like honestly, I'm holding back because I want to watch them next year when I do my 52 movies I've never seen. We'll talk about them next year, but I
mean, it's shot brilliantly. Like I heard they had to do like one of those rotating rooms to film it, because I guess his girlfriend comes in and it witnesses it like after he's pulled into the bed, and she just sees the blood just.
So when you die in the dreams, does your body resemble what happened to you in the dreams when you're awake, or are you just a body?
No, I think because when he scratches you. You wake up, you have the.
So then the girlfriend would then find his body, and it's just his room was like that.
Oh, he's just disintegrated essentially.
Oh, okay.
It's
just him.
This is blood.
Yeah,
lots of blood
just
all over,
and it looks
like a geyser.
It's almost beautiful, actually.
Yeah,
it looks amazing.
It's interesting to watch the two of you have similar yet different reactions to the idea. So that's
good choice.
Right.
Very good choice, man.
And keep in mind for the time too.
You
nowadays, right? They push the envelope, but
Yeah.
back then that was sort of like the cutting edge of how you kill someone and then visualize that.
Yeah,
So-
sure. Huh.
But we don't know exactly what Freddy did to him.
Yeah,
And that's what's scary.
I
too.
like the idea of that. Like, you kind of get to come to your own device. Like, did he just, like, you guys just saying it, in my head, I have a vision of him being pulled into the bed and just, like, going into, like, a blender or a grinder.
Right,
Sure.
You know, but what do you imagine?
I think he just cut him in half.
Okay.
Yeah.
The long
But
way?
I like your
the
way.
wrong way?
I like your blender grinder idea better.
And,
though. I like that.
let's clarify that up, kids. I think when you assume somebody gets cut in half, they get cut in half at the torso.
Yeah, like decapitate.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Yeah, I don't know.
What about you? What do you think Freddy did to him?
God, I mean, I kind of had the same thought about a blender.
Okay,
I
yeah.
mean, what else could it be? Like,
Yeah, what else could make that? Maybe we're being too. Maybe it was like a wood chipper. You know, that
Could
seems
be,
like something.
yeah.
You know, that seems like
'Cause
more
something-
horror.
something had to shoot, like, okay, so you blend them up, right? How's Freddy gonna shoot him out like a geyser?
Yeah.
Right? So
You
I
took
don't.
the lid off.
There you go.
He didn't do that.
Freddie messed up, like he
He's like,
forgot to
"Oh,
hold the
man."
lid. He's like, "Oh, I was gonna drink that."
It's a breakfast, man. Ah.
Oh my god, that's great. That's great. I'm finding this very educational. You have another one for
Oh
us?
yeah, I mean, I'm sure me and Dave could just do this all night, but I'm gonna kind of go for like it's funny to me, so but I will gauge your two's reaction. But it's from Child's Play 2,
Okay.
and I might have mentioned this on a previous podcast, but it's I believe it's Chucky's first murder in the movie, and it's this sleazy assistant to the guy from the head guy from the Good Guy Company.
Okay.
He's like the assistant, and he's got the Chucky doll, and he's supposed to take it somewhere. He's trying to put it in the trunk. It won't fit in the trunk. Puts it in the back seat. He's driving. He gets on the phone with this. I'm assuming it's an escort of some kind, or
Nice.
a younger woman because he's an older dude.
Yeah.
He was an Ally McBeal. I forgot his name, but
Oh, I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. Anyway, so he's on the phone with this woman, like, oh hey. Yeah, I can't wait to see you. Oh, the vodka. Of course I remember the vodka. So he pulls over. He's like, I know what it does to you.
Oh god.
So then, like, he pulls into this liquor store.
Like Chucky's doing this guy a favor, like the world of
Oh,
favor.
big time. Yeah, that's why it's kind of a satisfying death. And so he goes in the liquor store. He can't buy the booze because they don't take credit cards. This is 88, I believe, so of course they don't.
What's this newfangled plastic?
That's what he said. That's what he basically said. It's like, "Man, it's as good as cash." He's like, not here, it ain't. So anyway.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Anyway, he gets in the car. He's distraught because he can't get this woman drunk and do things to her. So Chucky's in the back seat.
He
Pulls
just
out
does
a
things to
gun.
Chucky.
Yeah, I know, right? I was waiting for that. Oh my god. Oh, that would
You,
be
you
better
don't need
movie.
vodka.
It's like, I know, right? And then he pulls out a gun, tells the guy to keep driving. They park. He ties him up with a jump rope. This guy works at a toy company, by the way. That's why he has all these weird toys in the back of the car. And amongst other, I mean, it comes in handy, I guess.
Yeah, when you don't have vodka.
Yeah, when you don't have vodka, you gotta tie him up with a jump rope. And so anyway, Chuck ties him up and tells him he's gonna shoot him. It's a water gun, and they both start laughing.
Yeah.
And then Chucky takes a plastic bag and puts it over his face.
Oh,
and,
Jesus.
And it's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Like, they legit put it over this actor's face, and he's suffocating.
Wow.
Like, and they shoot his feet. Like, the guy played it really well. Like, his feet are starting to twitch.
Curl and everything,
curl.
yeah.
And it just... And then Chucky's just laughing maniacally the whole time. And it's disturbing because it's not like a cool, cutesy Chucky death where he uses a toy to kill you or something. He just puts a bag over this guy's face and kills him.
Jesus.
Laughing the whole time. And
Wow.
the way the guy flails is kind of funny to me. I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny. So.
Well, it's definitely funny in the context of all those, him just, striking out, and then he gets killed by a doll? Jesus, that's not the way to go, man. That's especially, he's like, oh, I'm good. I got a credit card.
Yeah, it's a gold card.
Everything's coming at Millhouse, It, in fact, was not. It was not. This one's a little bizarre, and I don't know if you can... Something dies, for sure, but it's one of my favorite things, and again, another horror movie I saw way too young, was the original Dawn of the Dead, and when the zombie gets killed by the helicopter. It's one of my favorite deaths in any film, not let alone horror films, but the survivors are trying to get to this chopper, and I mean, in Dawn of the Dead, they're like moving really slow. Like there was very little threat to a lot of these zombies. Some of them move a little quickly, like that kid for some reason moved really fast in that like diner. But they're like trying to get into this helicopter, and like this like zombie's just slowly like climbing towards him, and as he's got to like step on a crate to like make his head large enough to get hit by the helicopter blade. But like it's a cut, and then you go back, and the head is clearly like, gosh, at least 5 inches taller than it was before. But again, it's a practical effect so that the helicopter blade can like cut the head, and it's so ridiculous. And I remember even watching it at like 10 or 11, and I was like, it like made me laugh so hard. Like I was like I appreciate the effort, but come on now, like you guys, like there's got to be some other way to do this. And obviously there wasn't for the time, because that's what 70 something.
Oh yeah,
yeah, you know. But excellent death scene, and it's just so funny because just the top of his head gets cut, and he just slowly like falls to his knees and then falls over, and it's just I don't know, that always stuck with me. And honestly, that was one of the deaths that came to my head right away when we were talking about this subject.
For sure.
And Dave, I'm gonna ask for one more from you if you've got one.
Oh, I mean, I got plenty, I guess. Oh, geez, one more. Huh?
Yeah, give me one more.
Okay, I would go with. Man, I'm trying to think of a fun one or like a serious.
Would you like us to come back to you? Because I'm sure Eric's.
Oh yeah,
go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna pick this one, and it's from Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter, Lies. And
so it was the death of the truth is what you're talking about.
Exactly. Basically, it was my favorite death. And it's that, and that one actually has a lot of my favorite Jason murders. Is in that one. It's actually really good. It's got a lot of good gore, but I'm picking another kind of funny one to me. Of course, it's all subjective. And it's when they're driving, this band of miscreants are driving into Camp Crystal Lake, and they see this hippie. And she's a bit out of shape. They're like, someone's like, oh, pull over. And they're like, nah, she's ugly. And they just drive off.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, it's funny because her sign says, I need a ride, and then when they pass her by, the other sign says F you on the side of it. So that's clever.
Yeah,
so
I like it when you got a plan.
Yeah.
The chick's a planner. I'd given her a job.
Oh yeah, she brought it. Well, anyway, she strikes out, sits down to have her lunch, which is a banana. Takes it out of her backpack and
you gotta eat healthy.
That's right. You're on the road.
Out.
You know, you're Kerouacing. You gotta keep your vitamins going, man. So she's eating her banana. You know, nice serene scene there, and then all of a sudden Jason comes lumbering out, stabs her through the neck, I believe, and you see pieces of the chewed up banana coming out of her mouth with blood, and then it cuts to the banana, and her squeezing the banana, and it falls out.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Honestly, Jason's got some of my favorite deaths. I mean, him and the boxer is another favorite line. But most of those just have great deaths in them. But that was just a good funny one.
I like that the director like took the time to like really show you like
the life coming out of her was the banana. Yeah, her soul was the banana.
Yeah,
the peel.
Exactly. You know,
I mean, it's art, man. Yeah. It's art, baby.
This guy, he was ahead of his time. Oh man. You got one for us?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good ones. I need to do 2 honorable mentions, then I'll get to my review.
Oh yeah, totally.
Do them all. Do them all, man. Go for it.
So like the one I really like is the in Alien, where
yeah, great choice.
Right, where they're all eating dinner, right? Famous scene, and of course the chest bursts, and the alien. You see the alien.
You like felt him die,
and I think if I remember correctly from the commentary, the other actors didn't even know.
Yep,
they didn't know what was going on, so their reaction was like pretty much genuine.
Holy
yeah, oh yeah. That woman, I guess, had like a nervous breakdown. One of them just was like the one that goes, "Oh my god!" Like she legit was spazzing out.
It was brilliant. It was so that's like a great scene.
Amazing.
A great pick. I didn't even think about that.
I think that's probably one of the more iconic scenes of that film, or even
of the franchise.
Right?
Oh yeah.
And Alien 1, more than any of the other ones, is actually a horror film.
Oh, big time.
The other ones are very much just science fiction with like a splash of horror, but Alien One. I mean, Sigourney Weaver. Like I love how that movie's crafted because you don't even know Sigourney Weaver's the star until she's the only one left.
Right.
It's so good, and then obviously catapulted her. But what a great pick!
Yeah, big time. I love it.
The other one, it's not as iconic, not by any stretch of the imagination. But I feel bad for the dude. So I feel like I should talk about it. So it's in Resident Evil, right, where they're trying to go to the main computer mainframe to speak that one
that's a good one too.
It was the Red Queen?
The Red Queen,
right?
yeah.
And the security thing turns on and tries to prevent them from doing it. And it's that black guy. I can't remember his name. But he's like the head of the squad. And the lasers start.
Great scene.
Right.
Great scene.
And so he's trying. So he's doing his best, right, to avoid getting killed.
Yeah, because the lasers are actually like they're heat lasers. They can cut you. Like they showcase that by his knife getting cut in half, but he's dodging it like a boss.
He is. And then I guess the computer program quits playing games and just creates
like a mesh net.
Yeah. And it just goes towards him. But you think he might have survived because I think they were able to turn off the security at the last moment.
Yeah.
And then you see him standing, but then you see him falling apart
into those diamond square pieces.
Yeah. And I was just like, man, I really like that character, but that was a cool way to kill him.
Good way to go, man.
It was a great scene because the lasers are coming out at different angles. Right. He's dodging them like a boss, flipping through them and all this stuff. But yeah, when she does, and just the look on his face when he's like, because I remember his stance, he's like, okay, which way is it coming? Which way is it coming? And then when it turns to the net. It's just you could just see it in his face,
it's a shame, man.
I'm not that good.
I bet you he was the mercenary of the year for the Umbrella Corporation.
He deserved better.
Right, he did deserve better, but that's one that stands out. And then the last one I guess I'll leave you with is it's in Jason Goes to Hell. It's actually the opening scene where they're trying. So the FBI just to kind of give you guys a perspective here. The FBI has been on the hunt for Jason, right? They want to stop him from murdering people, I guess.
Camp Crystal Lake is a hot real estate, and they just we keep sending surveyors in there and machetes.
So they send a female FBI agent as a decoy to lure him.
Oh crap!
And he starts chasing her, and he wants to kill her, do his thing, right?
Yeah.
And she lures him to basically a trap where the FBI is their special agents are surrounding him, and they just start brutally killing him with all the firepower they have.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to bring him down. And I think they may even thrown a grenade in there. He's
for good measure.
He's just he is that he dies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he dies right there. Not really, though, because you got to watch the rest of the movie. But that was a great opening scene. What I liked about it was, because I never understood this throughout the whole series, right? This guy's killed hundreds of people if you add up every death attributed to him. And I have, for the life of me, haven't figured out why law enforcement didn't go after him sooner.
Yeah.
It's true, man. Yeah.
But it's interesting to see, because I'm not familiar with that one, and I thought I'd seen most of the Friday the 13th, but I'm not familiar with that. But yeah, it's interesting to see, we gotta get in on this.
Right. And then from there, of course, this is a weird one, guys. He survives, I guess, because he has a spirit that just keeps on living. It's attached to his heart. So this is a little bit beyond the death here, guys. But the coroner, I guess, touches the heart and then consumes it. Consumes the heart. He actually eats the heart.
That's how you get their power. Go ahead.
And I guess that's how Jason possesses the coroner. And so they try to do it differently, where he's a vengeful spirit, so to speak, and he's possessing other bodies since the FBI destroyed his.
Yeah.
And then since he's possessed those bodies, he's going around, he's able to go around and kill people. And the plot is, I think he's got to find a relative of his in order to get a permanent body. If I remember correctly. It's been
wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I haven't seen that one.
It's pretty brutal.
I thought I'd seen all of those,
right.
at least most of them.
He's like,
yeah, he loved that hard. Like it's like he missed a meal. It's like, he was just like consuming it, and of course, the rest is gross.
Oh my god,
it's funny though.
It's like black tar. Like,
yeah.
Well, to cap it off, which of the deaths we talked about would be the way you want to go? Which one is like, that's the way I want, like, that's got to happen to me. If I'm in a horror movie, I hope that happens to me.
Eating the banana.
Eating the banana. I feel like if I was going to be in the ghost ship scenario, I'd want it to do the head.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to be ghost shipped in my legs, but definitely, if it's got to go, if I got to go, I think at the mouth, top of the head, I think that'd be pretty gangster.
Sure.
Boxing Jason.
There you go.
Jason takes Manhattan.
Yeah.
And I don't think we didn't talk about that as much.
I think we talked about it off camera.
Yeah, we did.
It's probably one of the few memorable scenes out of that movie.
I would say it's the only.
I mean, the poor guy, like, so he's an amateur boxer, right? He's on the roof, and he's tired of running from Jason, so he decides to make his last stand, right? And he starts boxing Jason, and he's making some moves, but he gets
he's putting the hurt on him.
Yeah, he's putting the hurt on him, and he's backing Jason up. Of course, Jason's probably toying with him, but he gets gassed, and at the end of it, the guy says, he literally tells Jason, "Give me your best shot." And sure enough, Jason does. Gives him a mean uppercut, and his head comes off.
KO!
Gives him the old Johnny Cage.
I guess I'd want to go that way.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, man.
That's good. I forgot we hadn't talked about it actually on the show. We talked about it off the show. That is a good last stand. Kids, that has been our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what we're doing, please hit the subscribe button. Give us a like. Leave a comment below. I have a feeling we're going to be doing more favorite horror deaths down the road, but if there's one that you liked, please leave a comment about it. If you say, the ghost ship one is stupid, that's lame, let us know.
Yeah.
Let's have a dialogue going. You can check us out on Instagram at REC Podcast. You can follow me if you'd like to learn about food and comics and love making. That's really not what my page is about. At Roman REC Podcast. You can follow Eric in the streets.
In the shadows.
Maybe in the sheets. And Dave, and my buddy Dave, he's around. He'll let you know what's up. Eric, what did you learn today?
Oh, man. I think Dave needs to be a mainstay on the Halloween.
I mean, yeah.
Just amazing.
Dave, I think
I love having him on. It's
all
great.
month you've been a cornerstone. You've been able to rearrange your schedule, your very busy schedule, to come and talk make-believe with us. And we really appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
I knew you knew a bunch about horror, but
I didn't know it was like this.
I didn't know it was like this.
Yeah,
either.
you said, he knows a lot, and I thought it was like maybe cursory.
Yeah.
No, like like the chapters of these like the DVD menu. Like, oh, what's on that chapter?
Yeah. Like commentary.
It goes that deep. I'm like, what? That's amazing. It's awesome.
I'm going to agree with you there. I have learned that we need to have Dave as a mainstay on our Halloween and horror podcasts. Dave, did you learn anything new today?
I learned that Freddy Krueger probably blended up Johnny.
He probably had a comically large blender.
He was going to make a margarita of some sort.
Yeah, a deparita.
And he forgot to put the top on.
Kids, you must put the top on.
Gotta do it.
I have been your host, Roman Chavez. Thank you so much for listening.
I'm still Eric Icarus.
And David Williams, thank you for joining us on this show and for the month. And we will catch you next time.